episode of Midwest Media Men, your foremost authority on everything entertainment, including movies, books, comics, music, and video games. My name is Connor, and I'm your host, and I have with me my co-host, Cody.
Yo.
And I have Big Nick.
What up?
And Gabe Ruth. Babe Ruth's gay brother.
Hey.
Today we're going to be talking over comic news, a little bit of Star Wars news, some Rampage trailer, how we're feeling about that, and then we'll get into a Justice League review. Start us off, in comic news, Labyrinth comic reveals the origin story of the Goblin King. I don't know about you guys, but all I remember from the Labyrinth was that giant codpiece that David Bowie was wearing.
I also remember his globe dancing with he has like another guy's hands under his arms, and he's doing
juggling?
like the crazy globe.
I actually heard that was a blind guy that performed all of that.
Either way, I don't know. I don't know if we need to know where the Goblin King comes from. I'm tired of hearing villain origin stories. I like them with a bit of mystery to them.
Yeah, I guess this is going to go over the backstory of how Gareth, I guess is his name, came to be in the Labyrinth himself.
It is a little intriguing because the Goblin King doesn't look like any of the other goblins. He just looks like a dude with like 80s metal hair
and a huge cock.
Yeah, that's a huge.
I mean, that's probably why he's the king. Then I'm guessing.
Yeah, that might be the goblin part of him.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is this something we want? I mean, I guess I didn't think the Labyrinth was that big in pop culture really anymore. Jennifer Connelly.
It does have like a cult following. Honestly, I prefer the Dark Crystal.
Well, who doesn't?
Yeah. But I'm down with the Labyrinth. And it's got a big following with men as well as women, so it'll attract a lot of a diverse group of readers, I'm sure. But still, it's a specific set of people who are still like off in a labyrinth. Some of them, the Bowie in memoriam fumes. I think that'll help it along a little bit, but that was a couple years ago now.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too. Is with Bowie just dying recently, kind of brought on a need or a want for something like that.
Right.
How about you, Gabe? Are you interested in getting lost, if you will, in the Labyrinth prequel story?
Absolutely not. I think you guys hit it right on the money, saying it's a very niche thing. Not to say that I know the people who are into that will be super stoked. Something that they've never really had, and I think that's a medium that, or it's something that will introduce a lot of people to a medium they really haven't been involved in before.
I mean, are you guys interested in any other Jim Henson Company comics, like other than maybe Ninja Turtles or?
If there was Dark Crystal, I'd read it. If there was a Dark Crystal book, I'd probably read it just because I love the Dark Crystal that much.
Wow, I did not see that coming.
Are you not a fan of the Dark Crystal, Gabe?
I don't know if I'm a fan of anything enough to venture into a comic to learn all of its backstory. I take that back. Maybe it's just not Jim Henson.
Fraggle Rock, though? What about Fraggle Rock?
I know all I need to know about Fraggle Rock.
Where did the Doozers come from, man? We need to know.
Doozer origin? Yeah.
All right, we're starting a petition here, listeners. Hashtag Doozle Origins.
Yeah.
Okay, in other news, Sebastian Stan played Winter Soldier and Bucky. He wants to play a young Luke Skywalker in a future Star Wars film. How do you guys feel about that? Are you interested?
Not especially, if only because we've already got our Luke Skywalker. We've already got Luke Skywalker's story mapped out for us. Like the most Sebastian Stan could do was show us what Luke was up to when he was starting in Jedi school. Like it'd have to take place between the trilogies. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see that space get filled in. But again, it's fun to use your imagination. It's fun to wonder what might have gone on, and just not have everything spelled out for you all the time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe like some of the deleted scenes from Return of the Jedi where it shows him assembling his new lightsaber after he lost his last one in Empire.
Oh, what about those scenes?
Well, there's some deleted scenes in Return of the Jedi that he was constructing a new lightsaber, the green one that he uses. So maybe something like that might be kind of cool to get a little backstory on where he had to go or how he, because you've never seen anybody build one.
Right, yeah, there is like in like the extended mythology of Star Wars that every Jedi goes on a journey to find some crystal to make their lightsaber. And yeah, we've never seen somebody go and get their lightsaber crystal before.
Yeah, Sebastian Stan's quote says, "I just want to say here that anytime anyone would like to call me and ask about Luke Skywalker, he'd be very happy." And they, of course, look just alike. I don't know if you guys seen any of those photos.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many Star Wars projects in the works now. Yeah, Disney's really squeezing all they can out of this franchise.
Well, I know you're the biggest fan. You're a real prequelist. You know, you love them more than the originals, right?
Oh, hell no. I mean, I think that there's decent stories. I think there's decent stories hidden in, like, Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith. I think Attack of the Clones is a whole lot of nothing. Most people liked Rogue One. It only made me more cautious towards, external Star Wars stuff outside of the main plot.
I would have said the opposite on that. I think it really gave a... It was refreshing seeing something that Luke, Han, and everyone else isn't going to come in and swoop and save the day. Like, it really has an air of mystery of what's actually going to happen.
You know exactly what's going to happen in Rogue One, man. They all gonna die. It's not like they're running around, celebrating with the rebels at the end of Jedi.
I mean, they could have let somebody live and just never mention them again, but I did like that everyone died. It was a nice ending to a story, something that's the Star Wars franchise is lacking heavily in. I just like knowing that, the story's over and they're not just trying to squeeze everything they possibly can out of it.
Interested in The Last Jedi? Just got its rating for PG-13.
Absolutely. Rian Johnson is a great filmmaker. This is probably going to be a good guys lose story, I'm imagining, at least on some level, and he's good at that, and Star Wars is at its best when it has to tell one of those stories.
I know one of his last movies was Looper, and now they've put him in charge of doing another trilogy on Star Wars, separate from the Luke Skywalker and Skywalker Tale.
Which, again, I'm cautiously optimistic about. I like Rian Johnson, so obviously whatever he makes, I'm probably going to go see, but the fact that it's more Star Wars on top of Star Wars, I gotta hold out and wait and see what it's all about, what he's making himself.
Yeah, we thought George Lucas was beating a dead horse.
Right.
Well, moving on, the Rampage trailer has finally dropped. The Rock fighting giant mutant monsters. It should arrive in theaters on April 20th, 2018. It follows the primatologist, Davis Oki, a man who shares an unshakable bond with George, an extraordinarily intelligent silverback gorilla. A rogue genetic experiment goes awry and transforms a gentle ape into a raging monster, along with several other creatures around the world. You guys are fans of the original Rampage video games. Do you have any interest in seeing this movie?
It's kitschy, obviously, but it knows what it is. It's kind of fun when something is really dumb, but the characters don't know it's dumb and they're taking it seriously. And that feels like what you're getting with Rampage. A really stupid idea executed with maximum seriousness, but it's okay if you go there and laugh your ass off.
Right, it's the director of San Andreas, so he's got a little relationship with The Rock.
Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, The Rock is just like, there's only one, like Arnold Schwarzenegger or something. Like, The Rock doesn't make any sense in any context except for action hero,
Do you think this one might be the one to break the video game movie curse?
I can only hope. I said the same thing about Assassin's Creed, though, when the trailers are coming out and you're like, okay, this looks pretty fun. World of Warcraft, it just keeps happening. You see something, it looks promising, and then the whole piece is in front of you, and you're like, oh boy, they shouldn't have done this.
But what about the old Mario Brothers movie?
That's a travesty.
1993's classic, starring Bob Hoskins as Mario and John Leguizamo as Luigi. What was it, Dennis Hopper?
Dennis Hopper. I mean, he's kind of killing it in there. He's pulling some of his Frank vibes from Blue Velvet, I believe, in that movie. He's definitely channeling that character a bit. I don't know, Mario World or whatever you want to call it, so dark and gross and there's a bunch of creepy S&M stuff going on, and just not a Nintendo vibe at all.
I guess I haven't seen it as recently as you have. I didn't get any of that back in '93.
Oh,
I just
man,
remember
There's
the
literally a
pinballs.
scene in that movie where, like, they were talking to a cop, and, like, there's some lady next to him with, like, a high heel on his hand or something. She's doing something super, like, dominatrix-y, just, like, you know, off to the side, and they're acting like it's the most natural thing in the world.
Well, da 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 da. Yeah, I mean, it's of course it's gonna be. What else do you expect in the down a sewer drain?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. That might have been what the filmmakers are. Oh, it's in the sewer. Yeah, we gotta get nasty.
Yeah, Demolition Man style, eating rat burgers.
Dude, that movie is strangely similar to Demolition Man in terms of aesthetic.
Actually, I never put that together, but that's definitely the same film universe for sure.
Yeah.
Well, on the topic of Mario, they are trying to bring a Super Mario Brothers animated movie to the big screen with Universal Pictures and Illumination Entertainment, same studio that brought you titles like Despicable Me, Minions, Sing, Secret Life of Pets. Right now, the most complicated issue in negotiations are between Illumination and Nintendo. Has been making the Japanese video game company feel confident that they will be involved in the creative process.
And they need to be fully involved.
How do you guys feel about a Super Mario Brothers movie coming to the big screen in the animated style of Sing and Secret Life of Pets?
I think it's the answer rather than another John Leguizamo Luigi. As much as I love John Leguizamo.
My son will love
Yeah,
it.
I think it's a chance to redeem Mario on the big screen.
Oh, absolutely. I know not everybody loved Minions, but that and Despicable Me have brought in over $1 billion alone. So, I mean, they're doing something right.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I only saw the trailer for the third one, but, like, Trey Parker looked pretty hilarious. The fact that he was willing to go in on something like that, like, yeah, they're still kind of the second stringer studio, DreamWorks is, against Pixar, of course, but they know what they're doing over there.
As someone who has seen Sing fairly recently, it's great.
Really? I heard it was
Yeah.
terrible. So you think that Mario would talk with the Italian accent through the whole movie?
I think
all of the dialogue, he's gonna look at these.
I think Mario would have to speak very little.
Well, I mean, in the games, he was kind of the strong silent type. You know, he was on a mission. And what do you think? I mean, what would he be doing in this movie? Because how long is going to get Princess Peach? How long is that going to carry a movie? Do you think?
Well, it's carried the game pretty
I
far.
say, okay, yeah. I just think it's kind of like Homer's Odyssey. Like it's a kind of story we've seen a million times before, and if you do it right, it's fun. Just a guy going through a bunch of trials and trying to get on the other side of it. Like in the middle of the movie, Mario could think that he's done all of it, that he's beaten every foe and everything, and he's in the castle and everything, and he rescues someone, but it's not Princess Peach who winds up being Toad, right? Because that's what happens in the game.
Well, what if they just said that this is Wario coming to mess with them?
Right, exactly. You could throw Wario in there. Yeah, like there's all kinds of fun wrenches you could throw in Mario's gears while he's running from left to right.
Did you say wrench because he's a plumber?
Oh, yes, yeah, I did. I'm going to retroactively say that yes, I did because I'm so clever.
Well, I mean, the video games seem to be doing pretty well right now, and with the Switch, and I hear that game is really engaging. It kind of brings back some of the callbacks to the original video games, and
As a matter of fact, it actually goes two-dimensional very regularly, and it's what my son calls old Mario. That's
Old
all
Mario.
he knows it as. Two-dimensional Mario is just old Mario.
So you're enjoying the game then?
It's amazing.
Okay, well that is him playing with his son. That can bring every kind of viewer to this film. Or yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They're like the Lego movie, man. Like it'll put butts in seats.
Oh yeah, that came out of nowhere too, and the rest of them kind of petered off. Ninjago, I don't think did very
Batman
well.
was pretty fun. I actually rewatched that like this weekend, and I still love it.
Yeah, that going on HBO really messed up my whole plans for my week, but I was pleasantly surprised.
Well, speaking of Batman, I know pretty much everybody here except Cody has seen the Justice League. And it brought in, not a very happy 96 million domestically. It's doing all right overseas with 281 million to date worldwide. What do you guys think was the issue? Did you think the reviewers kind of got in people's heads, and because I personally, I just want to say I really love the movie. I was going over it again and trying to think of things that I didn't like about it, and there are a few, but I'm really curious on what you guys thought of it.
I think superhero fatigue is real in cases like this, where like a movie like or Ragnarok comes out, everybody sees it, and then it's like, oh, and now we got to go see another superhero movie.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's my girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I mean, it's another team-up movie. I mean, everybody liked Wonder Woman, but people aren't exactly in love with Henry Cavill's Superman and some of the other stuff we've seen from, you know, Batman versus Superman stuff. It's been diminishing returns, man. Other than Wonder Woman, like, you know, the movies were kind of on a sliding scale downward, so Wonder Woman was great, but I don't know if it was enough to save the Justice League.
I do want to say here, full spoiler warnings for those who haven't seen it. All right, well, tell me some of the things you didn't like. What did you think of the villain? I really enjoyed the villain. The visuals, I mean, could have been better, but he wasn't really why I went to see the movie. Like, I wanted a villain to be there to keep the story progressing, but, you know, I could have just watched the Justice League, you know, hang out, really.
That's
Justice
true.
League
That's
making
true.
breakfast.
I thought Steppenwolf was pretty weak sauce, though. He didn't really do anything. I mean, I don't know. It's little things like Superman just wrecked the dude's axe, just like blew some ice on it, and then it was broken, and he's like,
Well,
"Oh my God, how could this be?"
Wonder Woman broke it. Doesn't she still have the God Killer sword?
Oh yeah, that's true. But it's just like, I don't know. He was only vicious when the need suited him, and like, you know, he's killing people pretty brutally off screen and stuff. But it's just like, it wasn't like Loki, where like, you know, he's kind of in the other characters' heads and stuff, and you know, he's doing all kinds of tricky shit along with killing people indiscriminately.
Yeah, Loki actually stabbed a guy's eyeball out so they could use it on a retinal scan.
Yeah, that's exactly the scene that I was thinking of, because that really helped establish him as a credible threat. But you know, it's a goofy movie. It's kind of like a Saturday morning cartoon. Like it's like Super Friends with like a Hot Topic paint job on it.
That's exactly what I thought when I was seeing this movie. This reminds me of Justice League Unlimited, you know, which I did love, as you know, growing up and watching back again on the Netflix.
Yeah, as a fan of Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, I think the overall feel of that universe is kind of something they're trying to drift towards now, rather than this super serious, you know, over emotional and brutish arc. Although I think at the same time it's definitely going through its growing pains. But it's something that I like that overall this movie has pushed the DC universe forward. I don't think it was detrimental. I don't think it was a step back. It was a step in the right direction. I think you guys were all right that Steppenwolf was just kind of a joke of a character, or a joke of a bad guy for a movie that's supposed to be this encompassing. And I think the added comedy was kind of what it needed. Although I think if it went away almost too much with its lack of emotion. Like if it wasn't funny, it was almost bland. Like that's the only.
Yeah, that's true. It never really packed much of an emotional punch for me.
Right. I think there were a lot of key points that they could have, and it would have been awesome. I think.
Yeah, honestly, the closest it got for me was a joke when Aquaman is sitting on Wonder Woman's lasso of truth.
That was great.
And he starts like revealing all this stuff about himself.
You know, surprisingly,
it was funny, but it was also like a good characterization moment.
Surprisingly, that was actually a Zack Snyder scene. That wasn't Joss Whedon's. He didn't write that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Zack Snyder.
Well, yeah, I honestly thought that their styles melded together well. I wasn't sitting there wondering like who did what. I didn't think any of that was jarring. I just thought that the story overall was kind of jarring.
What about that soundtrack with Danny Elfman taking over from Junkie XL, who originally replaced Hans Zimmer, who announced that he'd be retiring from the superhero business, but also left to go work on Tomb Raider.
I mean, Hans Zimmer's score for Amazing Spider-Man 2 is pretty bad. He probably should have quit there. It's one of the worst scores I've ever heard for any movie. I think that's him and Junkie XL together and some other guys. They're all terrible, though. Danny Elfman is playing the hits, man. Danny Elfman is playing bits and pieces of other people's scores, like, including his own for Batman, which it's dope when it happens, invoking all those vibes, but it's definitely a paycheck for Elfman. It's not anything, it's not like his work in the 80s with Tim Burton, man. That stuff is iconic.
I know, and I just kept waiting to hear that John Williams Superman theme, because that's really that's the DCU. That's where it should be heading.
Yeah.
Well, Henry Cavill he has one more performance as Superman in the DCU. Would you guys want to see that spent in another Justice League or maybe another Man of Steel? I want him just to do a Superman movie with the Superman that we have.
Exactly, yeah. Now that Superman's being done right, I would like to see another Superman movie. I want him to fight something crazy like Metallo or Mistleplik or Lobo or something wild.
See, I'd like him to do All-Star Superman, because that kind of has everything right there.
Right, yeah. The only issue with All-Star Superman is, like, I don't know if you could put that all in one movie. Like, you should definitely do something inspired by that, because that's the guy. That's the guy we want.
Well, they could stretch or make that All-Star Superman, film it all at once, and then split it into multiple movies and not negate his one-movie contract.
Yeah, that's like, what is it, the 12 Feet to Hercules or whatever? Like, that's like the 12 Feet to Superman.
Well, and now we have Ben Affleck trying to segue out with Matt Reeves having this new Batman standalone movie. There were talks with Jake Gyllenhaal. There's no short list yet. He's spoken to a few people. I was just trying to figure out what kind of actor would you guys be looking for? You want to go in the same age group as Ben Affleck, or you want to start off a little bit younger?
That's why I say John Hamm. That's my guy. I think Batman is always best when he's an established actor. Pretty much every Batman that we've had, did work after Batman that, was still some of their best work. Batman didn't define any of those actors like Superman tends to define the actors that play Superman. So get an established guy that we recognize, and I think I just think John Hamm would be really seamless playing. If you're playing the exact same character as Ben Affleck is supposed to be playing, I think John Hamm could do that, no questions asked.
What about you, Gabe? Who do you have?
You know what? I was trying to come up with somebody into this, and I think Nick just convinced me with every point he had. I just can see John Hamm's face from Baby Driver and think he's like, man, that could be it. That's it right there. That salt and pepper beard, strong jawline, bulk this dude up, and just have him go crazy.
Well, you want to talk about beards and jawlines. I'm going with Eric Bana. You might know him. He originally did the Hulk and Ang Lee's, but that guy, I think, would be perfect. You already know he can get buff and Troy, and he's got the...
I think he's very underrated. I definitely think that Eric Bana could handle that.
See, and I mean, everybody kind of poo-pooed on Ben Affleck because of all his baggage. I just don't think that John Hamm has...
I think he's great, and I still do, honestly. Ben Affleck, even like when he was announced, I was like, what, are you kidding me? That's going to be the best part of the movie. Like, I never understood the backlash against Affleck.
No, yeah, I didn't mind that. Because you've seen what he can do. He's after like Argo and The Town. I was really looking forward to seeing him do something. Well, we gotta address the issue with that upper lip. I know.
Right.
I mean,
here's the issue with the upper lip, man. It's the first thing that you see. Guy grows a mustache. Henry Cavill, for those that don't know, drew a mustache for, I believe, the new Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah, Mission Impossible 6 or 7. Yeah.
Right. So he's contractually obligated to keep this mustache, even though you can just, glue a mustache onto a guy, and it's way less expensive than replacing the upper lip of a guy's face. But that's what wound up having to happen, and it's the first thing that we see in the movie. And I think that that's an issue. I do, because it's really noticeable. It's hard to do CGI mouths just because, you know, when you think about it, mouths are weird. They're like weird, wormy holes, you know. They say the eyes are the window to the soul, but, like, an eye is a wet sphere. Like, there's nothing easier for a computer animator to do than make an eye expressive. Mouths are weird. It's the first thing I noticed about Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One. Like, I was fooled for a second, and then the mouth started moving. I was like, oh, this is fucked up.
Yeah, there
So
really
that's the
isn't
first
any.
thing you-
There really isn't any lip
Yeah.
motion capture.
Yeah, so if that's the first thing that we see of Superman, and he looks less human than he's ever looked, and they're trying to humanize him, like, it was a slippery slope from then on, man. I was just like, oh man,
Yes.
like he looks like something wearing a human costume.
Yeah, Men in Black. Does this look
For
better?
real.
Well, yeah. I mean, did it take you out of the movie? You know, the scenes.
Yes, it did. It completely took me out of the movie, dude.
Those were
Like,
like
I was like, why is his mouth moving like that?
those were definite indications of when the reshoots
was-
took place.
Yeah, but he looked like the baby from the E-Trade commercials.
Wow.
Oh man, yeah, and that could have potentially saved them millions of dollars just shaving that mustache off and paying Paramount
real.
whatever they wanted.
It's so spiteful, dude. It's so fucking spiteful to make him fucking keep the mustache. It's like, yeah, well, fuck you guys. Figure this out. Like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, that's
So Hollywood.
yeah. Uncle Tom Cruise told him you better keep that mustache. He enjoys that mustache ride. Well, let's maybe you guys want to talk about some of the end credit scenes. I really enjoyed
Oh
them.
yeah, sure.
I really enjoyed that. The only thing I didn't like about that end credit scene with the Flash and Superman was it looked like he had like padded suit, like he had an upgrade on his suit. There was extra shoulder decals, and it just First of all, where did he get this suit without a giant hole in it? You know,
That's true.
but yeah, I
Well,
really
yeah, they also, I mean, they color corrected his suit now, so it's a lot more vibrant.
yeah. See, that's what kind of it looked. The CG with the bright suit doesn't fit this universe. Like the Man of Steel
It
suit.
doesn't, yeah.
fit, you know, because it looked like the surroundings. But I guess if they want to play it as a alien suit, it can change colors with his mood. Maybe.
Yeah. Also, the
Yeah,
Flash
so
is
there's-
running, like, especially towards the end of the movie, it's kind of distracting how weird he runs.
Yeah, it's like
Oh yeah,
It's-
that, like nobody took him to a trainer or something to like learn how to run.
For real.
That guy's just like running on his heels. Super speed, superhero or not, he is gonna trip and fall.
Which he does multiple times in the movie.
yeah. How is this supposed to happen? You know, everything seems to slow down around him. You know, and how is he missing a step? Like,
I honestly think it's just like it's a plot contrivance, you know, like, oh, he hasn't honed his powers yet, but also it's like, I mean, if you got a guy who can slow time and run everywhere, then, you know, he needs some sort of setback,
Yeah,
which, you know,
And
I mean, he
clumsiness
doesn't
is
really
it, huh?
have other than that until Superman shows up and is like, oh, I spotted your ass, which is
Oh,
the best part of the movie.
that was great. I forgot to bring up the flashback scenes. You finally get some confirmation that we have Green Lanterns in the universe, and I was
That's
curious
true,
what you
that's
guys
very true.
thought. Is that Zeus or is that Shazam or a Shazam?
I'm gonna go.
No, that's a good question.
I mean, the whole
Um,
pantheon thing that they're pushing this whole time. I think it's easy to put Zeus in there, especially a dead Zeus.
I wanted more wild stuff in there, honestly, in that scene. That scene raised a lot of questions for me. First and foremost, I kind of wanted Diablo. I wanted the god that Diablo summoned, the giant flaming skeleton guy. Like, where the fuck was he? And yeah, because he's part of the, some ancient mythos. I thought it might have been cool to see him in there. And also, I was just thinking it might be cool for something like that to happen when they're fighting Steppenwolf again, because everybody decided to band together and fuck this guy up. And then it happened again, and only like 7 people were like, like 6 people were like, yeah, let's fuck him up.
Well, still, when they took an army with fucking bows and arrows, and a couple gods to take them out back then. So, and then we have, pretty much gods fighting him now. So, I mean, that didn't really bother me so much. he had.
I mean, it's just
his
like, why
mother-
don't any of the Atlanteans, like, are the Atlanteans in the Amazon, that they're like stuck on those islands and they can't,
That's
even
what
if the
she-
world is being threatened, like, what's the?
That's what the Queen does say. Is she says they can't leave. But when they tell Wonder Woman she can't leave is because she can never return, so she
Yeah.
takes that step to leave to save
Yeah,
Like,
but
mankind.
why is there a whole island of women that are supposed to protect the planet? Like, what the fuck are they there for if not a Steppenwolf?
Right. Like if there's any time to leave and not come back, it's probably when like the world probably won't be there if you don't.
Well, I got to talk
Also,
about
the
something I
Atlanteans
really
got notes.
hated too. Was that fucking white beard that they put on Joe Manganiello for Deathstroke? Like
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Let's talk about
that was
the whole
just
scene.
that was absolutely disgusting. Like
The
there's
white hair looked terrible.
yeah, it's like they
But
got a can
the
of
whole scene the whole scene altogether. I popped, man. I was very excited. Like, I thought it was super cool. I know that Jesse Eisenberg was just sort of doubling down on his performance as Lex Luthor, which was terrible in Man of Steel. But something about this, maybe it was the suit and like the fact that his head was shaved and stuff. Something about it worked. I'm excited for where that's going.
yeah, it worked because he wasn't Max Landis. He was and he wasn't Gene Hackman. He was the Lex Luthor, and I think it's cool because he's not a huge guy, but he doesn't need to be if he's super smart, so.
Yeah.
But as soon as they, showed that boat and that like bandana tassel floating in the air, I knew it was Deathstroke, and I got so geeked for that. But then he took his helmet off, didn't say a word, but he had that like they got a can of snow and sprayed it on his face and head.
But yeah, I think that he should segue into like Zuckerberg, because like his performance in Social Network, there are so many moments that made me excited for Lex Luthor that it didn't. But yeah, when he's like, you have a modicum of my attention, you have the minimum amount, like that scene in the Social Network is what his Lex Luthor should be to me.
Definitely. Yeah, I really enjoyed that, actually. I was happy. I was glad to see him back. Kind of killed the rumors that he wasn't in it at all. Oh,
Right,
and-
yeah. They're using his notes the whole time and stuff. I was like, it's going to be weird if he's not in it at all.
Well, how do you feel about Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke? Like, they were talking about that before, I saw some test footage of that. You think he's going to be able to pull it off there with Slade Wilson?
I think whatever take he has on Deathstroke will be fine. I know he's on Arrow, but he's a weird character, man. Like, just the character, because he's nuts, like, but he's serious nuts, not like, Deadpool is Deathstroke if he was having fun with it instead of, like, being deadly serious. Because he was Deathstroke the Terminator, before the Terminator came out. He was just, like, this fucking steely-eyed murder machine trying to take out all the Teen Titans.
Or maybe
Like,
they're setting
I
him
think-
up for a Teen Titans movie, before they take out the Justice League. They'll take out the small squad, get some attention.
I would love a Teen Titans movie, but yeah, I don't know, man. They don't have a slate. I mean, I think they have a slate, but
Well,
yeah, they've gone back and forth on so much stuff. Green Lantern Corps was supposed to come out in 2020. Like, is that really possible now?
I just read today that they're doing auditions for Nightwing right now.
Who's your Nightwing?
Where do I sign up? Also, can we just say Jason Gordon-Levitt?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Whatever.
I think they blew that with Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, if they're not going to... Then people are going to clamor to bring back Bale. Then we're going to have Gary Oldman, probably dead, CGI'd, Grand Moff Tarkin style, as Commissioner Gordon. And, J.K. Simmons I loved as Gordon, by the way. Straight out of the comic.
Yeah, they didn't use much of it,
Yeah.
but he was pretty good.
Well, I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about here? What about you, Cody? Would you see this film after what we've had to say?
Well, the film didn't come out in '96, so I think he's out.
Nope.
Okay.
I give it a solid nope.
All right, Gabe, out of 10.
Ooh, I'd put that bad boy like a good 6.8.
What about
I'm
you,
going
Nick?
6.5.
Out of 10. 6.5?
6.5, yeah.
All right, I'm going with like a high 7.9 or so, just because of the rewatchability. Like, I could watch that again. You know, it's 2 hours. I'm not sitting there for a Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Cut, 3.5 hour movie.
Yeah, it's pretty lean. It's pretty lean. Honestly, I'd watch a longer cut of it just because it rushed through so many plot points.
See, and who's to say there is a longer cut? Zack Snyder didn't get to finish this movie. It was like before it even got made, they had a mandate for 2 hours.
I mean, there's always a longer cut, though. You always got to cut something down from like, okay, here's everything we got. Like, here's everything that we would like to keep, and like, and then here's what the studio wants.
I did see some stills with Flash saving Iris West, and it's like he ran his shoes and bottom of his pants were all burnt off. So I'd be interested in seeing some stuff of that.
Right, yeah, there was some stuff in the trailers we didn't get. There was that part where Steppenwolf mentions that there aren't any lanterns anymore and stuff. Like, yeah, there's some stuff I would have been interested to see.
All right, well, I think that's gonna wrap us up, guys. This was the first episode of the Midwest Media Men.
Midwest Media Man.
So Gabe, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me over at bigchili@webkins.net.
Webkins?
Hey, man, you said where do they find me? I threw it out there.
All right, Nick, where can people find you on the internet?
TheGoodAssBlog.tumblr.com, and coming soon, the Minutia Vlog on the YouTubes.
All right. Well, if you have any questions, you can email us at lordbittnerc@gmail.com. Again, this was the Midwest Media Men. If it entertains us, it'll entertain you.